All right, welcome to the Noah News. Thanks to Noah's Archive, ran by the one and only Hisame. Everyone who knows pro wrestling Noah should, or pretty much does, know who Hisame is. But our website is puroprogramstranslations.blogspot.com. Always linked in the description of Mount Ararat podcast videos all the time. We're going to check out this week's newsletter, the Noah Weekly Newsletter, volume 170. This woman is nonstop with his coverage. It's unreal. For the 2nd of May, the week of May 2nd, that is today, Monday, May 2nd. This is the news for this week here in Pro Wrestling Noah. It's going to wrap up everything that's gone on, and Noah talk about some backstage comments. I'm going to read it to you. I'm going to opine with my views on it as well. So let's get it going. The Noah News, thanks to Hisame. Turning crisis into an opportunity. Card change and new champion crowned as Kazuyuki Fujita he contracts COVID-19 and has to return the belt. Noah announced on the 27th of April that due to Kazuyuki Fujita testing positive for the coronavirus, the belt was to be vacated. At the press conference held, director Takeda and Goji Ozaki met with the press to announce that Shiozaki would still fight in the main event for the vacated title, but his opponent had not been decided on yet. Kaito Kiyomiya wasn't going to wait for their decision. If he could help it, and he appeared before them to put his name forward. Takada, knowing that he was dealing with a stubborn Noah-born, told him that he couldn't decide on the spot. This issue needed consultation with the company, and therefore nothing could be done. Kiyomiya would have to wait. Kiyomiya was insistent that he did not want to wait, and ended up being escorted out. Takeda said that he would give his decision soon. Kiyomiya spent the next 2 days sulking and even contemplating a poll on Twitter that would force the company to do what he wanted. He need not have worried, as Noah came to the right decision and he was put in the title match to fight Goji Ozaki for the vacant title. Kiyomiya had been scheduled to be in the semi-main with the Mystery X person, but this was changed to Yoshiki Inamura and Kenya Okada. Despite his giving it his all and fighting for his generation, Shiozaki, although in a gray area when it comes to eras and generations, is a senior as far as Kiyomiya is concerned. Kiyomiya was unsuccessful again in capturing the belt, and Goji Ozaki ushered in his 5th title reign and 2nd time on winning the belt after it had been vacated. Shiozaki now holds the record for the most title reigns in Noah. I will discuss this in his next challenger in due course. So we're not going to talk about Kojima yet here, or at least Hisame isn't. Not yet. So that just sums up what happened. Fujita gave up the title. Goji Ozaki still in the match. Kiyomiya pretty much demands he's put in, puts a poll on Twitter to support this demand, but Noah actually does it. He comes up a little short. Shiozaki is the 5-time champion, the most time, no one's held the title more times than that, and Noah, and his next challenger is coming up soon. And that next challenger is who X was in that matchup of the mystery partner, Satoshi Kojima. After a lot of speculation, the mystery of the biggest mystery partner of all time, is that really the case? Was finally revealed. New Japan, Satoshi Kojima came out wearing a Noah t-shirt to team with Naomichi Marufuji against Kenya Okada and Yoshiki Inamura. Kojima praised Okada and Inamura, saying that he could not believe that they were not even 5 years into their careers, and expressed some embarrassment at being called the biggest mystery partner of all time, because even Kojima is not wondering if that's the case. Kojima explained that his participation in Noah was not just a one-off. He was going to do something that would be an unforgettable event in his pro wrestling life. That something was the challenge for the GHC heavyweight title, which was won by Goji Ozaki that evening. Kojima's challenge was very simple and almost Hayata-like, in that he simply said, "I'm the next challenger." Now, Kojima is a former IWGP heavyweight champion. He's a former Triple Crown champion, so that's New Japan and All Japan. And now he's going for the GHC championship, which would be Noah, and that would be huge if he were to pull that off. Shiozaki made no response, but held the belt up. Backstage, he remembered fighting Kojima and the force of his lariats. Tokyo Sports, a sports company over in Japan, are already calling this strong arm versus hard arm, with the title match being set for Cyberfight Festivals on the 12th of June. Cyberfight is where everybody under the Cyberfight umbrella, meaning Noah, DDT, the rest of them, I don't even know, all get together and there's numerous matches. That doesn't excite me because I do not like DDT. What I'll probably do is just watch certain matches where Noah guys are involved. I'm not going to watch that whole event. I highly doubt it. I'm not going to cover that whole event. I will cover the Noah matches of that. If there's a Noah regular roster member involved in a match that isn't silly or corny, because DDT can be the worst at that, I'll cover it. If not, if it's silly, if it's corny, if it's just DDT guys or Tokyo Joshi or what, I'm not covering that stuff. Just not. See where I leave off here. Kojima will do some Noah dates beforehand, including a pre-match with Goji Ozaki, meaning a tag match, and a singles match with both Kinya Okada and Yoshiki Inamura. We already previewed those. Those would be great matches. Although, Kojima's winning them. Stinger take all the junior belts, with Yoshinari Ogawa and Chris Ridgway taking the GHC Junior Heavyweight Tag Belts in an utterly brutal match on the 29th of April. It left Yohei and Katogi nowhere to run and hide, which ended with a worn-down Katogi tapping to Ridgway and Hayata defeating Eita for the GHC Junior title on the same night. Stinger now holds all the junior belts and ended Ryogoku, just as Yu Yu Susumu had predicted, at the center of Noah. So Yu Yu Susumu said they're going to win the belts, all of them, and they did that. Stinger are the tops when it comes to the junior heavyweights, there's no doubt. Ogo was enthusiastic, teaming with Chris Ridgway, saying that he was a partner he felt far more on the same wavelength than he did with Hayata. And he was so enthusiastic after winning the belts, he said he wanted to defend them both in England and in Japan. Of course, England is where Ridgway is from. He also echoed Hayata, who had spoken more than just 2 or 3 words for once, backstage when he said that they would take on any challenger from anywhere. Hayata had lapsed back into not speaking and made no comment when asked a question. No one has challenged at the time of the writing for the GHC Junior Heavyweight Tag titles. All hell broke loose on the 30th when, freed from the pressure of their own night at Ryogoku in title matches, Stinger went to all-out war with Perros de Mal de Japón. Takano Jr. had brought his bull rope with him, and this was used to beat Seiki Yoshioka, Yu Yu Susumu, and choke Yoshinari Ogawa. Stinger had the revenge by doing it back to Eita, as you see here in this gif. The match itself only lasted about 9 minutes and ended in a no contest as Hayata kicked Eita in the crotch. Fights, melee brawls, and 2 teams yelling at each other continued afterwards. The referee just gave up and left. It was chaotic. It ended with Nosawa Rongai challenging for the junior tag belts on behalf of Super Crazy and Takano Jr. Noah are yet to announce a date for that match. Now, I'm blown away that Takano Jr. is a junior heavyweight. Blown away. Blown away. What's the junior heavyweight limit? Like 220? 210? 220, I think. And his Wikipedia says he's like 218. Look, Takano Jr. is a big guy. I don't know how tall he is, but he has a mass of muscles. Now, I'm not trying to act like I'm a bodybuilder or anything, but I have some muscles that I've worked on, since I was in high school. And I weigh 223. Now, yes, I could stand to lose a little bit of weight, eat a little less pizza. Okay. But I can't believe Takano, as muscle-bound as he is, doesn't weigh more than me. Muscle weighs more than fat. And I weigh 223 and he's 218. I can't believe he's not 240. But him and Nosawa challenging for the junior titles, the match hasn't been made yet. I don't know what I think of that. I love Takano, don't get me wrong. He's going to be tough to beat. But Nosawa seems to always be inserting himself in the junior title picture. And I don't hate him. I'm not against Nosawa. How about Takano Jr. and Eita or somebody else? That's just my opinion. As for Yu Yu Susumu and Seiki Yoshioka, Yoshioka unfortunately lost his match against Extreme Tiger, which I said when I reviewed that match. That was very unfortunate. While Susumu had a draw with Kotaro Suzuki in what was meant to settle their grudge, so it didn't settle it. Kotaro left angry, kicking the iron barrier, which he almost got his foot caught on when he kicked that. Backstage, he wondered if he was the one who needed further training. So Kotaro Suzuki's very angry with himself for not being able to defeat Susumu in a time limit. Masakatsu Funaki retains, and he wants a power fighter for his next challenger. I mentioned that when we reviewed this. Let's take a deeper look into it. Masakatsu Funaki praised Simon Gotch for their title match on the 30th of April, not only for the fight he put up, but also for pulling out moves that took him off guard. He pulled off moves that took Funaki off guard, surprised him, and reawakened his passion for fighting foreign wrestlers. For his next challenger, Funaki wants a power fighter, and preferably a foreign one, as he has been inspired by opponents who have both different styles and different power in their bodies. Again, what do you think that means? What power wrestler, especially a foreigner, could step up and challenge Funaki for that title? A brave one, I'll tell you that. Niho loses both his hair and his name, as we see the gif here. An emotional How cut Niho's hair after Niho lost their match at Ryogoku on the 29th of April. The match took 16 minutes, and by the end of it, Niho is once again Hirooki. HI69 is Hirooki. Niho sat in the chair, brought into the ring, his arms folded and eyes shut. Traditionally, this is done when Hisame retires, as his top knot is symbolically cut off and his name retired before he takes a new one to start a new life. So this had some sumo reflections in it, you know. And sumo's wrestle fight in Ryogoku quite a bit, from what I understand. Fittingly, this had overtones of a warrior defeated in battle, and Niho looked as if he was waiting for Hal to slice his head off. Hal hesitated before cutting off Niho's ponytail and then showing it to the crowd, but there was nothing to be done. They both had to go through this. Hirooki, however, could not endure the head shaving. It was too humiliating, and he left. Hirooki has made no comment, although Tadasuke has called him Kongo's Hirooki. But Hal says he will never forget Niho, even though he is now fully Hal of the Noah Juniors, and will carry his name with him wherever he goes. Honorable. Z-Brats win. HYO challenges Harada to a singles match. After a week where the Noah Junior regulars got their own back on Z-Brats by invading their match at Korakuen Hall on the 25th of April, the Noah Junior regulars went to Dragon Gate and invaded and attacked the Z-Brats. Alejandro said innocently that they only went to talk, but the Z-Brats caused a fight. The 29th of April turned out to be a pretty frustrating evening for the Noah Junior regulars, as I discussed in my reviews, as not only did they lose the tag belts to Stinger, of all people, to close out the show, they also lost a closely fought match with the Invaders after Alejandro was hit by a chair and Shun Skywalker took his time in delivering his finisher and got the pin. Fans were clamoring to see Daisuke Harada versus Shun Skywalker. That's the match people want. Daisuke Harada versus Skywalker, considering the friction the two had in that match. But HYO has said he will do it, and he has defeated Junta Miyawaki and Alejandro so far. Now he's stepping up to Harada. If Daisuke Harada can defeat him, then it ends here. Match has been set for the May 14th. So just a little bit. So people want to see Harada versus Skywalker. That's not going to happen at this point. It's going to be HYO, who just seems to be more willing to wrestle singles and tag matches in Noah than Skywalker does, for whatever reason. Take that how you will. And this is really going to decide the feud, supposedly. Harada versus HYO. I don't want to give an early preview of it, but if HYO beats Harada, I would be shocked as hell. HYO is great, don't get me wrong, really good. But Harada's on another level. La Mexicanas come for their vacated belts. El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. announced that their team name would represent their dual nationalities of Mexican and Canadian. When the Hideki Suzuki and Takashi Zagura defended the GHC heavyweight tag titles against Kongo, Kano, and Nakajima, he and Rene Dupree came and challenged them. Dupree and Wagner had lost the belts during the coronavirus epidemic, and Dupree, they didn't lose them, they had to turn them in. And Dupree pointed out they were never actually beaten for them. Exactly. It was only right, therefore, that they came back for them. Hideki Suzuki accepted the challenge, which has been set for May 4th at Korakuen Hall, which we have already previewed. That's a big match. You can see the gif there of the challenge going on. Paros de Mal in Dragon Gate, challenge made for Triangle Gate Championship. All the Dragon Gate titles have the word gate in them. I don't follow Dragon Gate, but I know that. On April 25th, another Noah Dragon Gate interaction took place when 3 masked men appeared after Gold Class. Gold Class is a team in Dragon Gate consisting of Kaito Ishida, Naruki Doi, and Kota Minoura and Minurita. Sorry, I don't know. Were complaining that no one had come forward to challenge them for their titles. The 3 masked men, after a fight had broken out, one of them had given the Blue Destiny to Minurita after softening him up with elbows, revealed themselves to be Paros de Mal de Japón's Kotaro Suzuki, Nosawa Rangai, and Eita. Eita, who had just invaded his own promotion, because Eita works for Dragon Gate as well. Eita made a challenge which was accepted by Ishida with the warning that he was a marked man. So far, Gold Class have made no retaliation. Title match will take place on May 5th. If you're into that, I'm not into Dragon Gate, so I won't be covering that. Here we go. Keno invades DDT. Love Keno, hate DDT. In character, Keno hates DDT too, so I kind of like that. But when this match happens, I will try to cover this match. Not covering this whole show because I just don't trust DDT. Anyhow, it has become a yearly tradition that Keno will barge into DDT, the company he refuses to even acknowledge in his weekly columns, and complain about Cyber Fight Festival. Cyber Fight Festival is where all Cyber Fights companies can mix it up. Okay, Noah, DDT, Tokyo Joshi Pro. That one I can't pronounce. There's a couple on Wrestle Universe. Check it out. If you want to see the other ones, you got more to watch than Noah if you're into that. I'm not into that. So that's going to, and complain about Cyber Fight Festival, which he likens to school wrestling event. I'd say I love Keno. He likens this Cyber Fight to a high school wrestling event. Like, big deal. Usually demanding a singles match with Sanashiro Takagi. Takagi was not around when Keno barged in on Damnation and began his usual rant, asking the fans if they were applauding because a real wrestler has arrived. I love Keno. Daisuke Sasaki told Keno that wouldn't he prefer to face him, the highest wrestler, instead of a third-rate opponent. Keno growled he would beat him and then left the venue. Sanshiro Takagi later commented on Keno's behavior. He was not going to dwell on it or even comment on it. Niho had sorted the match out, and that was all there was to say. So, Daisuke Sasaki versus Keno, I guess. Sorry if I'm stammering around. I don't get DDT. I don't understand DDT. I have zero passion for DDT. I think it's insulting and embarrassing. I agree with Keno, although I'm not in gimmick. I hate it. But I will check out Keno's match and any Noah regular wrestler for Noah that performs in this event, Cyber Fight Festival. I will check it out. Goji Ozaki match, of course, I will check out. But for the most part, DDT's involved. It doesn't get much interest from me. Keiji Muto returns. Keiji Muto announced he would return to Noah at the Ota show on the 21st of May. Muto was absent from Noah during late winter due to a left hip injury. Now, I made a video, it's on my YouTube page, about the old guy argument, where I go on explaining why people are ridiculous knocking the old guys in Noah, because the old guys are great. They're great. If I had it pointed out to me politely by some people that really the only old guys people complain about are Muto and Fujita. Okay. Fujita's still great. Most people's comments about Fujita are based on a supposed reputation that they know from dirt sheets. Okay. The reputation he had when he was part of Enochiism, a reputation he had when he was part of Pride Fighting. I don't care about that stuff. I don't. I trust Noah. I've said that before about an issue I'm not talking about anymore. I trust Noah when it comes to Vegeta. I just do. Muto's one of, if not my all-time favorite wrestler. The Great Muta, I loved him. I loved the Great Muta. Ric Flair was my favorite wrestler. He's fallen down a peg or two based on personal interaction while working together on the independents. Muta is probably my number one. And I say probably because Bruiser Brody's up there too. Okay? But I see the point with Muta. I'm not going to complain about him because I got news for you guys. Surely you know he's the most over guy on the roster. No matter how hard these guys work, and God bless him, I love him, nobody's as over as Keiji Muto with the audience. He isn't. He moves tickets. He sells. He sells. And as long as he can get in that ring and not be a flat-out embarrassment, and no, he is slower. Absolutely. He's about almost 60. And he can't do the stuff he used to do. Of course he can't. But he's not embarrassing. Yes, having some young guys like Kaito Kiyomiya lose to him with a roll-up or a move that was sort of like, I get it. But if somebody else get over that big, then maybe we won't have to worry about it. But he's coming back, baby. Muto's coming back on May 21st. Now, Hisame always highlights stuff she's already done. Noah Junior Night, Majestic 2022, and Innovation. She has the event recap up. She has post-match interviews posted. Check them out. I don't go over all them. These shows would be 3 hours long. I'm not doing a 3-hour long show. Her page is here for a reason. Wrestle Universe presents Majestic 2022 from the 30th. She has the event recap, her thoughts on it, and post-match interviews. Check them out. The post-match interviews are interesting. Again, I would go over them here, and I have once because I had a very short show and needed something to throw in here. I typically don't because her page is there for you to check other things out besides what I go over, and I don't want to do a 3-hour show for your sake and for mine. I just don't. Elsewhere in the Noah news, Kano was seen to smile embarrassingly in the ring as he and Nakajima messed up their entry. He later got back into character and yelled at Segura. So, yes, I mentioned earlier in the review of the show how Kano actually smiled in his match teaming with Nakajima against the Segura army. And apparently this is why. Somehow they messed up their little entrance and the poses they do. Kano did something wrong, realized he did it wrong, kind of smiled and looked sideways at Nakajima like, oh, geez, I messed up. Kai Fujimura was given Slex's glasses to wear. We talked about that in his match. Alejandro and Yano were embarrassed. Later, Alejandro went to wear the glasses. Like Alejandro, Slex was wrestling with them on for a few minutes. They fell off, and Alejandro got them and was going to put them on, but was prevented from doing so. Fans want to see Tadasuke versus Slex sunglass match as a result. Yeah, sunglass guy versus sunglass guy. Then it would be a good match. I mean, Slex versus Tadasuke would be a good match, and both of them are very fond of wearing their sunglasses. In their separate interviews leading up to Noah Jr. night, the Noah Jr. regulars talked about their hobbies and each other. Junta Miyawaki likes making curry and playing computer games. Daisuke Harada has no hobbies that he can think of other than enjoying washing his clothes. Okay. And yes, he even divides socks, shirts, and trousers. Well, that's impressive. Come on, Daisuke. And cleaning his home. And everyone agreed that Yohei is a chatterbox who is only silent when he is playing Dragon Quest. So there's some information about the Noah Jr. regulars you were all dying to know, I'm sure. Yoshinari Ogawa and Chris Ridgway, quickly becoming one of my favorite tag teams, holy God, they're good, ruined a touching Noah Jr. regulars moment when Yohei was crying after not being able to help Katoge in the title match when they burst in and Ogawa told them to get out of his way and then stuck the belt in Harada's face. Harada retained the same expression until the next day when they had a match against the Lucha Tag, Alpha Wolf, Dragon Bane, Ninja Mac, and Extreme Tiger, which lightened the mood. Yohei developed a friendly rivalry with Ninja Mac. Daisuke Harada has vowed to smash Stinger's grip on the title, so Harada's coming after the titles. It looks like the tag title to start, but he's a 5-time junior heavyweight champion, so I'm sure he'll eventually challenge for that as well. The Luchadors managed to almost trash the Japanese commentary desk twice when Alpha Wolf did a top rope somersault, slid off his opponents and onto the desk, narrowly avoiding taking the commentator out. No wonder with this, the vicious GHC Junior Tag title match, and Eita bleeding everywhere while being battered by a demonic-looking Hayata, poor Rina Matsuki was terrified. So this female commentator apparently who was just scared to death because of these moves going on into the commentary table in the bloody match between Hayata and Eita. Now, all I said about this triple threat match was it wasn't for me. Look, guys, this move is ridiculously dangerous, and I know it's their life, but I was at a Ring of Honor show when a wrestler who, what TK something? I'm sorry, I'm forgetting your name, friend. I can't remember. But he was part of the Kingdom back then. He did a move very similar to this. I was in the front row. And he flew out. It wasn't right in front of me, but it was on the same area. And did a flip, and his legs caught that bar, and one of his legs were broken. I mean, this is no joke. I mean, this makes the crowd ooh and ah and be so impressed, but this can take you out. This can end a career. And some moves, I just think no matter how impressive or how much it makes the crowd gasp, aren't worth it. That's just one of the many reasons this match wasn't for me, and nothing against any of these guys. Massacatamia and Michael Elgin have formed a tag team. I mentioned that in the preview. That should be an excellent tag team. I love it. Two masked men calling themselves Playful Old Man Machine number 1 and Playful Old Man Machine number 2. I didn't realize they were calling themselves that in that match. That makes it even more ridiculous. Dressed as Kazuki Sakuraba and identical movements when entering the ring, defeated Don Fuji and Masaki Mochizuki. Then one of them hugged Don Fuji afterwards for the longest time. Don Fuji said he shut his eyes in rapture and the world span. What the hell? Kendo Kashin says he owes the idea of the t-shirts to Keno. Keno is no doubt of the opinion that the Segura army owe him royalty money. He was convinced that was the case when they used the dog motive, which Keno claimed came from him when he called Tashi Segura the company dog, complained of the loss of earnings, and threatened legal action. Cashin also said that Noah may be seeing more of the duo. Okay, I'm not going to dwell on this. You see the picture there. Kendo Cashin and Sakuraba came out in the mask, calling themselves playful old man number 1 and playful old man number 2. Again, I said if Cashin's comedy was limited to something like this, I could get over it. I'm not angry about it. Again, just a little goofy, a little silly. Some people like it, some people don't. I don't really like it, so let's just move on. It was announced that Rob Van Dam would be appearing at Cyberfight. Now, is he wrestling? I'm guessing. I know Rob Van Dam's probably pushing 60 years old if he's not. I did not like Van Dam's run in Impact Wrestling. I don't watch Impact, but of course I checked him out a little bit. Clips, full match here or there. He had his girlfriend with him, whose name I don't remember, and don't care that I don't remember, shaking her ass more than anything. It seemed to be the focus of his matches more than him wrestling. So we'll see what he does for Cyberfight. We'll see. Will I watch his match if he has one? We'll see. I could see it being a DDT style match with meaning goofiness, silliness, gaga. And if that's what it is, I definitely, if I watch it, I won't report on it. I'm not into it, guys. I can't make it any more clear. The current champions of Noah of GHC, the Global Honor Crown. Heavyweight champion is Goji Ozaki. His next challenger is Satoshi Kojima at Cyber Fight Festival, June 12th. So we got a little bit of wait, a little more than a month wait until we see the heavyweight title defended. Then we got the GHC Junior Champion Hayata. There is no challenger at this point. The GHC Heavyweight Tag Team Champions are the Segura Army, Takashi Segura and Hideki Suzuki. Their next challenger is coming up in just 2 days, May 4th, Rene Dupree and Dr. Wagner Jr. The GHC Junior Tag Team Champions are Stinger, Chris Ridgway, and Yoshinira Ogawa. Their challenges are Perros de Mal de Japón, Super Crazy, and Takano Jr. The date for that match has not been set yet. The GHC National Champion is Masakatsu Funaki. His next challenger to be determined. We don't know who his next challenger is yet. This week in Noah, Wednesday, May 4th, Korakuen Hall, Tokyo, broadcast on Abema. We have previewed that earlier in the show. As well as Thursday, May 5th, Korakuen Hall, broadcast on Wrestle Universe. We have previewed that. Note about the broadcasts. Unless you're living in Japan or have a VPN you know is compatible with Abema, please do not subscribe to the service. For fans living outside of Japan, a subscription to Wrestle Universe would be better, as they show more Noah shows than Abema, and usually the events get uploaded very quickly. Abema broadcasts are only in Japanese. You can only watch them live, and this is the only Noah they have. They do not broadcast old shows, as those belong to Samurai TV. So there you go. I have Abema. I'll go with Hisame's recommendation, though. It works for me without a VPN. I don't know why. Maybe they said, hey, this guy who's crazy about Japanese stuff, turn it on for him. I don't know. But it works for me. It works for me live, and it works for me on demand. Lucky me. But go with our recommendation. Don't spend money on it and find out you can't watch it. I have an excellent VPN. That's why I got it. But I found out I forgot to turn it on one time, and it still worked. Birthdays. Sunday, May 8th is Akira Teo's birthday. Turned 61. And we got a bunch of links here. Noah Jr. week interviews, other articles that are posted. Oh, look at all this stuff that Hisame does. It's incredible, the amount of work she does. I feel like I do a lot of work, too, in these recordings, because I got to do all the editing, and it's a lot of work. But she might outdo me. I mean, because she has to translate. I don't got to translate. How? So please bookmark her page, use it like crazy, make it your homepage for crying out loud if you love Pro Wrestling Noah. Right there it is, Noah's Archive. Pro Wrestling Noah news and articles in English. Please feel free to use any part of my blog in your news articles. All I ask is that you give me credit. And Puro Programs Translations.blogspot.com, linked in the description of all Mount Ararat podcast videos. So guys, that's the show this week. Episode 12 is in the can. Well, not really. I've got to edit it and do a lot of work with it yet, which I will do tomorrow on Tuesday and get it uploaded on Wednesday, the day of the next Pro Wrestling Noah show. Thanks for joining me. I'm Adam Lavelle, owner, CEO, CFO, operator of the Noah Network, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. Noah Save the Wrestling World on Facebook. A. Lavelle on Twitter. A. Leavelle on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm everywhere, and mostly talking about pro wrestling, Noah. WrestlingDoneRight.com is my website. I'll see you again next week.